Welcome back to another episode of Brothers Blockbusters, a sibling-hosted Average Joe podcast where each week we discuss the biggest movie and TV news and review the latest releases so you don't have to. I'm your co-host, Eric, alongside my brother, Elliot, and today we are covering a ton of news from Hollywood, and we are reviewing the next installment in the Toy Story universe and franchise, Toy Story 5. Elliot, you ready to get going?
Yeah, we have a lot of stories to cover, so let's just start getting into it, and then we'll get into our Toy Story review.
Yeah, so like I said, we have a lot to cover. There's a lot that's been going on. A lot of stuff came out this week. So one of the first things, I think I sent this to you earlier this week. Looks like the new Blair Witch movie will be released on September 24th, 2027 in theaters. The directors of the original film will executive produce this new film per discussing film. Now, you and I think we were a little bit younger when the original movie came out. And I don't think we watched it until we were probably in high school.
Pretty close to then, yeah.
And
yeah, I think it was right around the Paranormal Activity craze, because it's like that found footage cam stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I remember back then watching it for the first time. I don't think I was as scared as I think I was going to be, but maybe I need to do a rewatch.
Yeah, it definitely builds in the original. I mean, it came out 1999 or 2000, so spoilers are out there, but it's not really, there's not really any, you never see like an entity or a demon or anything like that, but it does build as it goes on. And there's a lot of imagery as they get lost in the woods throughout and really try to figure out their way to get back. And yeah, it's more mind bending than it is straight horror, but I think that's probably why it's, yeah.
Yeah, but it feels like it's like, I don't know if, you and I can touch on it. It felt like that type of horror movie kind of has led to the horror that we're seeing now, right? With like backrooms. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot of tension building.
Yes.
It makes you think a lot. It doesn't, and we talked about this when we reviewed Obsession and Backrooms. Like it's not like slasher horror. There's not a lot of blood and guts. It's not a lot of jump scares, but it builds in a lot of parts of it to make you feel like there's something that's going to pop at you. And then just the characters themselves, if you have really good character development, then you start to feel for these characters more and understand what they're kind of going through and how terrified they become. So that's exactly what Blitzware Project was. So
yeah, I mean, it's just another horror movie for us to review more than likely on the pod.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I know there was a Blair Witch. I think it was called Blair Witch, because I think Blair Witch Project was the original. And then Blair Witch came out maybe like 10 years ago, and I want to say I don't know if it was a sequel. Actually, might have been a sequel or like a legacy sequel to the original. And I don't think it did very well. And this one I want to say is more of a like reimagination or like an ode to the original. So I think it's probably like the same kind of story. I don't know if they're going to bring the same, like they're not going to bring the same actors in. I think the female lead of that, I don't even think is an actor anymore. But I think the other two actors who are with her in that movie are going to be like exec producing this as well.
So. Is it going to be like a continuation of the storyline? Is it just going to be like a reboot of the franchise? Is it going to be like I don't know if you can call it.
I think it's going to be like a reboot. I think it's more like a new story.
Kind of in the same type of realm of what the first movie was about.
Yeah, and maybe they have some kind of ode to the past characters, or they completely reboot it. But I don't think it's any kind of sequel. I think it's probably on its own, or at least from what I've found on it.
Well, another horror film for us that we're gonna obviously discuss, because horror right now, like you and I talked about last week, horror is kind of popping right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, we might be like this, early 2000s, mid 2000s comedies run that they're on right now. So another horror movie for you and I to discuss. I'm all for it. Second, and I told you every episode, I missed one. Every episode we were going to talk about the Batman Part 2. And this is just a quick little one hitter. The production designer, Luke Hull, has posted some photos to his Instagram, and a couple of accounts have kind of verified that it's on the set of the Batman Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
One looks like you're in like I don't want to say it's like an office, but it's like a computer room. Not computers, but like what do you call it? Like a server room.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah.
And then another image has like clocks, like outside, like dark outside, like maybe like a house, mansion, something very dark, very wet, very, I don't know how you describe it, very mysterious. So that's cool. And I'm assuming, that's, again, like we talked about, they're going to have so many more releases of this as this movie keeps getting filmed. But just to be able to see kind of just little snippets here and there, I think it's
I mean,
awesome.
those pictures could be like a 5-second scene in the movie.
Correct.
out of a
Correct.
2.5, 3 hour movie.
Sure.
But yeah, anything that we can get from it is positive and fun. So we'll keep speculating as we get more and more details of this movie.
And that is your Batman Part 2 talk for this week's pod.
There it is.
Check. Okay, so you sent me this. This is kind of exciting. I have high hopes for this. So they're gonna have a Shrek spin-off film called Donkey, and it releases in theaters June 30th of 2028. So about 2 years, basically almost 2 years to the day now. So a little bit away. This is via Culture Crave. Eddie Murphy is reprising his role, and it serves as an origin story of how a donkey became Donkey, which is
Yeah, so we kind of know. I think he explains it in the first Shrek of how he became a donkey or how he became like a talking donkey. But I think this will just be like the film
origin story.
adaptation origin story of that event. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, they've done like Puss in Boots spinoffs, so
Sure.
when you have like the second main character of the franchise that doesn't have his own movie yet, I think it'll be pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, everyone who likes Shrek and who's seen Shrek, especially our age, like I think everyone can agree like Donkey might be the best character in that entire film series. I mean, there's a few standouts. I know everyone loves Shrek, but Donkey's hilarious. And obviously, you couldn't do this movie if Eddie Murphy wasn't reprising his role.
No,
I don't think anybody else could do that voice and be that character. So it's exciting. So it should be.
This comes on the heels of like the Shrek trailer coming out this past week and a lot of negativity around it just because of like the new animation style.
Yeah, it looks a bit off.
It's gotten a lot of, I think it's, and don't quote me on this, I can't remember the number, but it has like the most downvotes ever for a trailer on YouTube or something.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It's just getting roasted. Like it was like when the first trailer for the Sonic movie came out and the image of Sonic was so off and strange that they actually changed the animation for Sonic to make him look like his actual, game character.
Didn't they change the animation for this new Shrek movie because people were complaining about how bad it looked and they kind of did a bunch of reworks? I think
they changed a little bit, but it still looks very similar to what the first trailer that came out maybe over a year ago. Yeah. But yeah, this came out this week, but I think I'm more excited for this than the new Shrek movie just because, again, this is animated, so it's not like you don't need to use the same act. Like in a live action, if you have all these movies and then you try to do a prequel with the same actors, it just doesn't fit as well because they're, obviously older and you're trying to go in the past. But with an animated movie like this and Eddie Murphy reprising as well, I think it'll be pretty cool to see kind of the backstory of how he became Donkey and then maybe it'll lead up to like the end of it, him meeting Shrek and that whole thing. So yeah, should be good. I'm excited.
Yeah. And again, like we said, we have a lot of stuff happening. This next one, I'm actually really, really excited about.
You sent me this one today, I think. This was kind of a last-minute addition.
So this was, looks like there's going to be a new Netflix series starring Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour. So if you guys don't know, those two were two of the main characters in the Netflix series Stranger Things. And they're basically reprising their roles as father and daughter as they did in Stranger Things. It's going to be from Jack Thorne, who did Adolescence. This is a discussing film. The film follows, is it a film or is it a TV show? It's a series, right? Series, I said?
Yes.
Yeah, so it follows an FBI agent who is forced back into the field when his estranged daughter vanishes on a mission. So obviously, if you put two and two together, it sounds like David Harbour is going to be the FBI agent. His daughter's going to vanish on a mission.
This is interesting because we know Netflix original movies aren't always the best, right? Like they're high budget.
Series, not a movie.
Or sorry, okay. Well, Netflix original content, I guess is what I'm saying. A lot of it's high budget, big name actors that and it's kind of bland. Again, I don't know what to expect from this, but they're both, pretty good actors and they worked well together in Stranger Things and David Harbour's, gone off and has done his own stuff too.
Yeah. So, I mean, Netflix has I think Netflix has a decent hit rate on their TV shows, like their original
TV shows, I think content. More so than their original movies.
Yeah, their movies are not, I mean, there's a handful that you can say are pretty good, but no, this is, I mean, I'll tune into this. I mean, it's basically going to be like them just reprising their Stranger Things roles, obviously in a different universe. But
and there was no date on this or anything. I didn't see anything about that.
No, there was no date. I think it just got released today about how they're going to star in it. So it probably just got greenlit or something. So no, that'd be fun. I'm excited. I think that'll be good. David Harbour's fantastic in pretty much everything he does. He was in obviously Stranger Things. He plays Red Guardian in the Marvel movies, and he was in Thunderbolts, and then he was in I don't know if you remember this. He was in Quantum of Solace, the Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
He was?
Yeah, him and
I remember.
Jeffrey Wright as Felix Leiter were the U.S. guys, the FBI guys.
Oh, okay.
Or CIA guys.
And then he's in our latest addition to our Christmas movie lineup. And
Violent
Sin. It Violent Night? Yeah.
Violent Night. Not
That's
Violent
a fun
Sin.
one. That's a fun movie.
Oh yeah, I watched it. I think I put it on earlier this year. Not earlier this year, but right before Christmas this year, and that movie still hits. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. I love it.
So yeah, if you that's another plug, if you guys haven't seen that movie, might
Yeah,
add that to your repertoire.
add it to the Christmas list.
Add it because that's going to just keep on growing. So I sent you this, and this looks very, very interesting. So there's a trailer that just released for a new Netflix sci-fi film, The Last House. It just got released. It's directed by Louis. I
But
don't know if I'm pronouncing it. Leterrier.
Yeah.
Who's done Fast 10, Now You See Me, The Incredible Hulk, and was written by Matthew Robinson. It stars Greta Lee and Wagner Moura, and the film's going to be released on Netflix in August, which is crazy. That's a quick little turnaround. It's basically a family of four are suddenly sealed inside their home with no way out, and they must work together to survive against both their dwindling resources and the mysterious looming threat that is keeping them trapped. So I know when I say this trailer, I put it on. I'm like, oh, let's see what this is, and it kind of looks horrifying. You know, again, we talked about just a minute ago that Netflix movies haven't had a good hit rate of original content, but this trailer kind of got me locked in. Another sci-fi horror type movie.
This one remind me a lot of the new movie that's coming out in theaters soon in August with Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. What's that movie?
Last House, End of Oak Street, or Last House on Oak Street.
Yeah. Similar like kind of instance where they can't leave their house or they're, you know, kind of trapped in a way. And this one's weird because I really enjoyed the trailer, but it felt like as the trailer went on, it started to give away more information. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to see this. But if you watch a trailer, I mean, this, like you mentioned, the family of four they're trying to leave their house one morning and they just can't leave. Like the door won't open. And there's another scene in the trailer where they're trying to break open a window and they break it, but it immediately repairs itself. It ends up being how long is it? Was it, they say 4 years or something? They're stuck in this house?
Yeah, the movie's called like Year 1183 or something like that. Or day 1183, I think.
Yeah.
So all you math geniuses out there, you guys can calculate how long that is.
But yeah, I think I did a quick research on this after watching the trailer, and I think the original name of this movie was going to be 1183 or whatever it is. But to make it less confusing, because, you know, you're going to have to like, what the hell does that mean? Does that mean days, months, whatever? They just put The Last House, I guess. So yeah, this should be again, Netflix movie. Who knows if it's going to be good, but two good actors. I mean, Greta Lee, who we are going to see as in Toy Story 5. She was in that.
Yep.
And she was also New Girl for several episodes.
Oh my, yeah, interesting.
But yeah,
again, anything that we think is interesting, anything that we see on socials, we'll put it out there for you guys. And you know, who knows if we'll like it, but maybe there's an audience out there of you guys would enjoy this. So we thought we'd throw it out there. Do you want to touch on the last thing? I know we wanted to spend a little bit of time on this one.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for this next one that we're going to talk about. You know, when you look at the landscape of movies after, you know, once the new year hits, and I'm thinking long term of, you know, when I do my eventual top movies of the year, when I saw this one when it was coming out and who's directing it and what it's about, I had high hopes that this could be like a top 5 movie of the year.
Yeah. So Robert Eggers, if any of you know, he has directed The Witch from 2015, Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, that was 2019, The Northman, which starred, was it Alexander Skarsgård?
Yes.
And Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, and some others. And then Nosferatu in 2024 with Bill Skarsgård. If there's a trend with him, he's only directed basically movies that take place before the 19th century. And they're really focused on horror, folklore, and some kind of like mythology. So he's directing this new movie, Werwulf. This comes out, I think it's on Christmas Day this year.
Yeah, it comes out end of December. So long way for this one.
This one, he's bringing back an actor he used in Nosferatu with Aaron Taylor Johnson. Essentially, this film it follows a man who is cursed into some kind of merciless, brutal, unforgiving world, which we assume he's going to be some kind of werewolf. This is set in 1300, so again, pre-19th century, like even further back. Some other details on it. Robert Eggers has made a point that this is not going to be your classic werewolf movie with, you know, the cliches of, you know, being bitten by a werewolf and silver bullets and, you know, full moon kind of stuff. So I'm sure it's going to be unique in his own way. Willem Dafoe, who another actor Robert Eggers has used in a lot of his stuff.
Oh, we talk about it. All these directors love, and again, it's awesome to see like these directors just fall in love with these actors and actresses that they just use for their roles, right? So obviously Robert Eggers has a handful: Anya Taylor-Joy, William Dafoe, Aaron Taylor Johnson. So get Willem Dafoe in a movie, especially in something like this. I mean, he's playing a hunter, which is just like
it makes me think of the hunter from Jumanji. It immediately makes me think
God, you're right. Yes. Yes.
Which for the longest time didn't realize it was the same actor who played the kid's dad in Jumanji from the beginning of
Oh,
the movie.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Probably
never knew.
a metaphor there somewhere to be found.
Yes.
So yeah, this a couple more little details. Apparently they spent time with a real wolf to learn about its behavior.
It's
So
wild.
who knows if that'll translate into a movie. Dialogue is going to be in Middle English, so be prepared to use subtitles.
Yeah, I mean, I know AMC now you can do movies where they have actually on the screen subtitles, so we might need to look into that and see if we can get some.
AMC also used to have, I don't know if they have it anymore, but they had these little like tablet kind of things. They're not like an iPad or anything, but like a machine where you could rent from them. You take it in the theater, and then as the movie is going, the dialogue pops up on this machine, so you can follow it.
That's wild.
Yeah,
kind of like the old Dave and Buster's keyboard, or not Dave and Buster's, Damon's.
Yes, yeah, I think it's very similar, like in terms of like what it looks like in like a giant piece of plastic. And again, it's probably more for people who are hard of hearing or deaf, so they can read what's going on the screen. But I'm pretty sure you can just, at least if they still have it, you can just pick one up if you want one.
Mm-hmm.
So might need it for this because it's going to be thick for sure. Couple more details on this. It was shot on 35 millimeter film. So, and apparently with a grain structure of a black and white film. So it's supposed to create some kind of unique look. I don't think it's a black and white film per se, but it is color. So it's going to, I don't know what the look is going to be. Has there been a trailer yet? I don't even know if I've seen a trailer.
I haven't seen a trailer. I have not yet. So I don't know. It looks, the way they're shooting this based on, what you have, all the sets were built from the ground up. Like it seems like a very like grounded film, very, I wouldn't say real. I mean, you could say realistic, right? Not a lot of probably CGI, things like that. But the way it's going to be shot with that grain structure, that black and white, I think that could be a massive hit for something of this realm, right? Because it's like you said, it takes place in like 1300 AD before all the wolves were killed off in England. So it's going to be Middle English. It's going to be hard to understand. They're going to be talking. You're going to have to, like you said, probably need subtitles. But the way this movie is going to look and feel, and again, it's Robert Eggers. His films always are just fucking weird. Like I love Nosferatu, and I think that was in like my top 3 movies a couple years ago or 2 years ago, whenever it came out I think it was 2025. So I have high hopes for this.
Yeah. So like we mentioned, Willem Dafoe's in it, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and also I believe Lily Rose Depp is in this as well.
Oh, I mean, she was excellent. Well. She was excellent in Nosferatu.
And Nosferatu, yeah.
No Nicholas Hoult.
I don't think Nicholas Holt's in this one. So it's I mean, it's a great cast. It's I mean, Robert Eggers doesn't miss much with his movies, so
no.
The ones that I mentioned, The Witch, Lighthouse, The Northman, Nosferatu, like
they're all so different, but they're all this. But they're all the. They have the same kind of feel to them. And they're just very, very odd. But very really in depth movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're acquired taste. It's not
yes.
It's not like you have to be super intelligent or very film nerd to enjoy it. It's just different style.
Yeah, it's like some people, like I know a lot of people darn big fans of Alex Garland's work. Like his movies have a really distinct style. Obviously, Christopher Nolan has his style. Scorsese has his style. Robert Eggers definitely has a style. Definitely has a niche. So I'm excited for this. I think it's gonna be good. And I have high hopes. Like I said, this could be a top 5, top 10 movie come Oscar season when I release my final rankings. So
yeah. I mean, I'm excited for it. Can't wait.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood this week, guys. So
yeah, there's a lot of stories. Some weeks there's not a ton. Some weeks there's a lot. This week there was a lot, so I'm glad we were able to cover all of it. At least the stuff that we thought was important.
The weeks where there's not a lot, you're just going to get a lot of Batman Part 2 talk and speculation.
Just random stuff you're just pulling out.
Random theory. You could talk about some theories about characters and who they're going to play and things like that. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff this week. That covers this week in Hollywood. So are you ready to get into the main review for this week?
Yeah, let's get after it.
So this week, our main review, like we mentioned earlier and last week on the pod, we are reviewing Toy Story 5. Just kind of get into a little bit. Andrew Stanton was the director. He was the director and co-writer of the Pixar animated films Finding Nemo in 2003, WALL-E in 2008, Finding Dory in 2016. He was a co-director and co-writer of A Bug's Life from 1998. He was the co-writer for the first 4 Toy Story films, and he also co-wrote Monsters, Inc. So he's got a pretty good pretty good
Yeah,
bag of
he's been in this
movies.
universe. He knows exactly what these are all about.
So if you're looking at all those Pixar movies, I mean, a lot of people, I think I saw one of the podcasts we listened to. They did like their rankings of the best Pixar movies, and you'll see a handful of these in those top lists. Main cast, it's the same cast as usual. Joan Cusack returns as Jessie. Tom Hanks is obviously coming back as Woody. Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear. Greta Lee, who you just mentioned, as Lilypad or Lily, a frog-themed tablet who becomes Bonnie's new favorite plaything. And obviously one of the best standouts of the film, Conan O'Brien as Smarty Pants, a toilet training toy. So just a little bit of synopsis. Buzz, Woody, and Jessie and the rest of the gang come face to face with Lilypad, a brand new tablet device that arrives with her own disruptive ideas about what is best for Bonnie. Will playtime ever be the same? So a little bit of background first before we get into it. Development on a 5th film was confirmed for Toy Story 5 in February of 2023, with Hanks and Allen returning. Andrew Stanton was later confirmed as the director in June of 24 and later as also a writer. It is the first main film in the series with no involvement from co-creator John Lasseter, who left Pixar in 2018. So he left Pixar in 2018, and then Toy Story 4 came out, was it 2019? So I'm assuming he still had a little bit of a role in Toy Story.
Yep.
Toy Story 4.
Yeah. Yep.
The franchise's composer, Randy Newman, back again to return to score the film, marking his 10th collaboration with Pixar. That's a fun trivia. What other movies has he done? If you could name his 10, that'd be
Honestly
fantastic.
thought he had passed away since, because I haven't heard much from him in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, he came back again. Pretty cool.
And then finally, Taylor Swift, as most of you have probably already seen on socials, she contributed the #1 single, I Knew It, I Knew You, to the soundtrack.
Didn't come till the end, but that was expected. And credits.
Correct. I was wondering when it was going to come because I saw a bunch of stuff on social about it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden, I think you and I were sitting in the theater. I'm like, oh, there it is. There it is. So the budget for this film was $250 million. And then according to Box Office Mojo, as of yesterday, it had already made $350 million. I mean, it made a boatload of money opening weekend.
Yeah.
Like
so
a boatload of money.
yeah, it was huge for an not only animated movie, but up the entire year. I mean, that's a week. So the first week from the Thursday night previews through last night. Sorry, Thursday night previews through last night, it's made $350 million.
Crazy.
So it's
and
past
only
its budget, but yeah, this movie's gonna probably be close or hit $1 billion this year.
That's crazy. I mean, it's not unexpected. Toy Story. If you ask someone, what's your favorite Pixar movie or what's the most recognizable Pixar movie when you think of Pixar, a lot of people will say Toy Story, and rightly so. So let's get into it a little bit. Give me, before we get into spoilers, obviously, give me like a 1-sentence reaction.
Yeah, so I thought, while mostly unnecessary, Pixar really hits it out of the park again with the Toy Story franchise. It seems like because of the Toy Story sequels all being so good, it's almost impossible for them to mess it up. So, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I think, obviously, if those of you who've seen Toy Story, I think my 1-sentence reaction would probably be, not even with just this film, but with this film coming out and us seeing it, I think Toy Story has cemented itself as the best series Pixar's done, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Because usually, you get with series, right? You get with, a handful of movies. The first couple might be good, and then it kind of tails off, right? You can look at, not even comparing Pixar movies, but look at like Iron Man, right? First Iron Man was fantastic, and then the second and third were kind of meh. You get all the 4 Thor movies, and like one of the movies is like renowned. The other movies are kind of forgettable. Get into Pixar, right? Like you have Cars 2. Isn't there a Cars 3? Right? So it's like those movies are, Cars 1 is incredible, but like the other ones are like, they're very forgettable. Each of these Toy Story movies can stand on its own, and you could honestly make an argument that at least 2 or 3 of these Toy Story films are top 3, top 5 Pixar movies of all time. If you sat down and like went through and did a ranking system. So that's mine. I think it's cemented itself as the best series of movies in Pixar's, cupboard of movies. What do you think? What do you think worked? I got a couple ideas. I think you and I are going to probably say a couple of the same things, but just kind of want to get into it.
I mean, a lot of this movie worked. It's a very good movie. I think what I like the most, a couple of things I'll just kind of touch on. Jessie's storyline, I really liked it. She was kind of the main character of this movie in a way.
Yep.
I mean, she's been in the franchise since the second movie. The first movie is all about Woody, and then Buzz comes into the picture, right? Second movie, it's Buzz and Woody, and then Jessie comes in the picture. So we got
She had a little bit of a run in the third movie.
was the third one?
Yeah, where they figured out she got left behind. That's when the whole "When She Loved Me" song was big.
That was Toy
That
Story
had
2.
like that was that 2 or 3?
That was 2 because we figure out who she is. Because remember, Woody doesn't want to join her, and then she kind of gives her backstory of like her
That's
owner and
true.
all that,
That's true.
right?
Okay. I think so.
Because we had last one. I mean, I really last movie was kind of Woody's story a little bit.
The last movie was entirely Woody's. Like I put it on because I actually just hadn't seen it, so I put it
Mhm.
on the other night. I think it was maybe a day before you and I saw the film, and I was getting like maybe like it was like an hour and 48 minutes long, and I was like 50 minutes in, and I'm like, you've barely seen Jesse. Like this is not even Jesse's like not even this movie. Like I'm surprised she even got credit. Like it's to the point where it's like, how did she even get credited in this film? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you said, it's cool that she had her own storyline. It's much deserved, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it played really well. And then I think visually stunning movie. I mean, Pixar really puts. I mean, we saw the budget of $250 million. I mean, Pixar puts all their chips in on Toy Story. It's their number one Pixar. It's their franchise, and it continues to get better and better. It's just so it. I mean, the first movie was ahead of its time, and as second movie came out a few years later, and then Toy Story 3 was 10+ years after that. The
Yeah.
animation is just so crisp,
hmm
and it's
I mean,
just it's so realistic.
yeah, we talked about that maybe like, I can't remember how long into the film was, maybe like 30, 40 minutes. And I think I leaked over to you. I'm like, the animation in this is incredible. Like it's crazy. Obviously, like even back then, like when the first movie came out, the animation was still great for its time. And even still now, it's still fantastic. But seeing it progress technologically in the last, what, 30 years, it's awesome. Like it's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. And then like the bigger, overarching theme of the movie, I like kind of the adaptation that they had to modern day, even though it's kind of obvious, kind of low hanging fruit of like no one wants to play with toys anymore. They want to be on their tablets. I think that the message of this movie too of, you know, don't be on your tablet all the time, but it's not the worst thing to have necessarily.
Correct.
There's positives to technology, and we'll kind of talk into a little bit more on that of how to contact somebody like the toy is lost. Like how the heck do we come in contact with the owner to make sure that they know their toys are fine or like that we have the toys and the toys
hmm
kind of find their own way to figure that out by
Sure.
using technology.
Sure.
And then honestly, I loved, and I don't want to, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but just like the Buzz Lightyear subplot and kind of how the new Buzz Lightyears that are made
Mhm.
in present day are more adaptive to the times than like the original Buzz Lightyear. That was pretty cool.
It was like borderline just ridiculous, but it was hilarious. Like
Yeah.
I mean, at multiple points when you just like they were like, it's not even a spoiler. It's like all these Buzz Lightyears on an island, and they all of a
This is
sudden
the
just
beginning of
like,
the movie, right? The first
yeah,
scene.
begin the movie.
It's like a
They're just all on an
crashed
island and they're
cargo
trying to
ship.
find their way, and they see the North Star and they're trying to like. But every time they all got into a line and like started marching somewhere,
Hmm.
it sounded like they were playing like Russian army music.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh.
it felt like the music that we saw in Ghost Protocol when
Hmm.
they try to break into the Kremlin and they
Hmm.
have like the Russian like theme, the anthem, like the military anthem. It's literally what it sounded like, and it was just hilarious.
And you and I kept kind of like not talking to each other during the movie, but like every once in a while they'd go back to these Buzz Lightyears on their whatever mission they were doing. We're like, how is
Yeah,
this connecting to the
yeah,
actual plot of the movie? And of course, it kind of comes together at the end, which is pretty cool.
sure,
But
sure.
I like that a lot. And then, lastly, just the overall message of like toys still have a purpose in a kid's life, even when technology is kind of taken over,
Absolutely.
which I thought they nailed it pretty well.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
know I covered a lot there, but what you think worked?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a couple of things that you said. I think it was really cool. We touched on it, how Jessie got her own storyline, right? Because in Toy Story 4, like the third movie, it felt like they kind of all were in their own storyline together, right?
Yeah.
They're at that daycare with, was it Lotso or
Yes,
the
Lotso,
bear?
the bear.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're like all in their own storyline, and then obviously you have Jessie and see in the second, Toy Story 2 where she's kind of introduced, and again, but in Toy Story 4, like she wasn't in it at all pretty much. And it was cool to see her finally get some, like Woody wasn't even, I mean, Woody was in this an okay amount, but it wasn't like he was in there a ton,
Yeah, he wasn't in there for
right?
the first, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the movie, I
Yeah.
don't think.
So having Jessie have her own storyline, I thought was really, really cool. Like you said, visually it was incredible. I thought it was just insane how far Pixar has come with their animation. And clearly it showed. I mean, it just looks so crisp. right? You could like feel it. It almost didn't feel like at times that it was an animated film.
And you saw Hoppers
I
recently, and
did
that's
see
a Pixar
Hoppers.
film. How was the
Yes,
animation on that?
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, I don't know if it was. I think Toy Story 5's animation was a little bit better, but
I think it's just like the toys, because the main characters are, a third or a quarter or whatever, an eighth of the size of an actual room and a human being. So I think that the way they're able to show those dimensions
yeah,
works really well.
yeah. And I think one other thing that I really think hit it home for me, for you, probably for everybody. I really liked how they kind of dug deep into kids trying to adapt and kind of like try to fit in with the
Hmm.
crowd because they think that's what they're supposed to do. Right. So, not obviously not to get into spoilers, but Bonnie, who Andy gave his toys to after the third movie, she was trying to connect with these girls like in her dance class. And that's how the lily pad came into play because all of her friends on the dance team had a lily pad. And they ended up making fun of her a little bit for wanting to play with actual toys. So she kind of got rid of the toys because she's like, I want to fit in. And then obviously down the line, she meets the other girl her age that is basically the same person. And I think that message of being yourself, not being afraid to be who you are in terms of, if you want to play with toys when you're that age, like it's okay. You don't have to be on your iPad. You
And
can
it's not
still
like
have
she
it
was
in.
like, a high schooler or something
Yeah,
playing with
they're like
dolls.
8 years old, like 7, 8
Yeah.
years old. Like it's okay to play with toys. You don't have to be like you said, tablets are not they're not all bad, but it's like obviously moderation. So like it's okay to play with toys. And I think that emotional connection of like getting people to be like, hey, you're allowed to be yourself. Like you don't need to fit in with everybody because they're doing something and you want to fit in with like the cool popular kids. Now, obviously they're like 8 years old, right? So it's a little bit different than like your high school age kids or college, whatever. But I really thought that point that they tried to hit, I think that really hit it home. And I think they did such a good job of coming to that realization of the characters of like, you can be yourself. You don't need to think you need to be someone else for anyone. So I really thought that was cool. And then
That's a really good point.
yeah. And obviously, like you said, the adaptation to modern day, like they did a great job of the technology portion of it. And then obviously that, like you said, I think the one big thing that you can take away from this film is toys do still serve a purpose,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it was hammered a lot throughout the movie, and her character kept bringing it up of like technology is forcing kids to grow up a lot sooner than they should, and that they should be able to enjoy, playing with dolls, right? Right.
Sure. I mean, like, well,
The
look at us
toys
right
are
now. Like,
like, yeah.
it's great having video games, right? Like, we'll go on and play like Halo or Call of Duty or Fortnite or NHL. I genuinely love playing the bubble hockey game more than I do the NHL video game. Like, I love playing that, and that you could consider that kind of like in that realm of like it's still a toy, it's not technology based, right? So it's little things like that that they do still serve a purpose. So I really think that really they did a really good job hitting that home. What didn't work? I don't think a lot didn't work. I think they hit it out of the
Yeah.
park for most of it. I think while it was hilarious and they did tie it back in at the end, I think the whole Buzz Lightyear subplot, army subplot, like it took so long to figure out what the heck they were even doing. I'm not saying it's pointless. I'm not saying it was a pointless subplot that needed to not be in there because I liked how they did tie it in the end, but I think not even explaining what the heck we were even watching. Like I had no idea what the end game was what that was for. Like I was so confused. I'm like, why is there an army of Buzz Lightyears? How do they get to this island? Like
Yeah, like, I mean, a
what?
lot of these Toy Story movies begin with something fun. Like, I think Toy Story 2 began with, like, a huge like, sequence, but it was
Mhm.
just Rex playing a video game, right, on the TV.
Yes, yes,
Like, but that's, like, really cool. That was when, it was Buzz Lightyear. He was, like, on a planet or whatever, and he has to fight
yeah,
Zurg. He ends up, dying or whatever,
yeah,
and then it cuts to Rex playing the game. And so, like, Toy Story is used to, like, these intros being really funny and quirky. But yeah, I didn't realize this would be such a big part of the movie. And again, like you said, like it's not like it didn't work. It was just like based on how the movie ended with them kind of helping out, like could that have been resolved in a different way? And this plot didn't need to be included.
sure. Honestly, that's pretty much it. I think you're gonna touch on it. The whole Buzz Jesse kind
Yeah,
of.
because they're like I mean they're toys, but they're kind of like a couple, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
And
like
like
it makes sense, right? With Bonnie, like in the first part of the movie, she's doing like a marriage scene with all of her
with
toys,
Forky and
and
who is Forky's mate?
I can't remember what her name is. I'm not gonna say Spoonie because that's not right. She's a knife or something.
It's a knife, knifey, yeah, knifey, wifey. I don't know.
Whatever. Like that, it
But
makes
like
sense
Buzz like
kind of
kind
with
of saw that and was like, "Ooh, I want to like propose and like marry Jesse." And it's the whole movie. He's like nervous about trying to do it and all this stuff. And
which was funny. Like
it was funny how
his
they
little
did it. It's
things
just
were
like
funny. But
they're
yeah, I
already
think
kind
that
of a
could have been.
thing. Like who cares?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It ends up
That's
working out
it.
in the end. But yeah, I mean that was really it. And then the other thing, I didn't really write it down, but like it was kind of my one sense reaction. Like, was this movie necessary? Obviously not.
Yes,
But
I think it was necessary.
I think it was and it wasn't. Like one, like he didn't need the Toy Story franchise to continue, but if you're going to continue, this is a perfect way to do it. Like toys in a technology filled universe, like perfect.
Well, that's why I was gonna play devil's advocate with you because I think it is actually I think it is important in the sense of we're obviously this is pulling on the heartstrings for a lot of us kids who grew up with Toy Story, right? Like we'll still go see this because we grew up with all the Toy Story movies, especially the first two, right? When we were kids. And I think it's important for kids nowadays who technology is so easily accessible, just like kids have phones and iPads when they're like 2, 3, even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's important for them to go see this movie and really have that message hit home like, hey, you can still play with toys. Like we had we were I think we grew up in a great era of like we grew up without technology to start, and then we kind of eased into the cell phones, the iPods, the video games. And even when we got our first game system, I think it was like 2003. I was in like third or fourth grade. We got a PS2, but we never like were addicted to playing it. And I know they had Nintendos and they had all the the Game Boys and like we liked playing them, but we thoroughly enjoyed more like playing outside with our friends, playing sports, playing baseball, playing tag, playing hide and go seek. So I think for these kids in this era of life, I actually do think it was. I think it was maybe. I think it was necessary. I think it's
Yeah.
necessary for them to see
Yeah.
this and to be like, hey, you can still go out. You don't have to be on your iPad. You don't have to be on your whatever technology thing that kids are playing with nowadays. I think it's important to still have an imagination, still be able to sit outside and go play with your friends outside on the swing set or go play sports outside, go play pickup baseball, football, what have you, as that age. So I think it was important.
No, that's I get it. Like, I thought like just making another movie, you didn't need to, but at least with the story that they created for this movie was important. I mean, you can get
Sure.
into spoilers now because there's not too much left to kind of discuss, but you know, it kind of the movie kind of ends with Bonnie realizing, like, finding her new friend, like not these friends that she met, not met,
But they were so mean for
they were
being
mean,
like
yeah.
8 or 9 years old. They were
But
so
those are kids,
mean.
dude. Kids are like that.
I know, but it's just wild.
But they're making fun of, like you mentioned, she connected them through the lily pad, and they met up in person, and like they made fun of her because she brought her toys, and then by the end of the movie, she ends up with the girl who ended up
His
finding
name
Jesse.
Blaze,
Blaze, yeah, the one who lives on the farm where Jesse like
which I
grew
thought
up,
was
I guess.
I like was that a necessary tie-in? Probably not, but I think that was cool with Jesse's full story of her coming back home where she got left, where she
Yeah,
spent all of
she
her
like
days.
her character arc, like she was pushing. I mentioned already, she was pushing like kids should not have to grow up so soon because of technology, and
Mhm.
she kind of had like a like identity crisis in a way,
Like a mental breakdown.
and she was kind of reassured with the fact that she was able to find her owner had a kid and named her Jessie after her because how important like a doll was in her life, kind of thing. So I thought that was
Yeah, that
really
was
nice.
pretty cool. Yeah, that kind of pulled on the heartstrings a little bit.
But you know, by the end of this, like I mentioned, Bonnie and Blaze have become friends, and they're now both love playing with their toys.
And having an
Like,
imagination, which
but
I think
also
is the
having
most
like the lily
important thing.
pad. Like I think when they were playing in the room at the end of the movie, they're still like I don't say googling things or like playing on the iPad or the lily
Mhm.
pad, but also like mainly focusing on the toys. So it's
Yeah,
like you can do
using it
both.
in doses. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
exactly.
using doses like moderation, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought, get into a little bit the when you grew up, obviously watching these kids, all the Pixar kid movies, all the kid TV shows, right? You don't catch things that as kids you don't understand, but like the whole Conan O'Brien's character is like the smarty pants like potty training thing when
Mhm.
he was like low on batteries. Like they found him, he was low on batteries, and they're like in this little shed, like a little playhouse, and it's like he's wasted.
Yeah.
Like he's just drunk
Because he
slurring
had
his
low
words because he
batteries.
has
Yeah.
low battery. Like that stuff is like that's so funny for like obviously for parents are going to see it for people our age who like Toy Story movies or like Pixar movies or Disney movies and we want to go see them because it brings back some nostalgia from when we were kids. I thought that was hilarious. And then all the little one-liners like Craig Robinson's he was like a little GPS like map. Like his one-liners were
Oh, yeah,
so
Craig
funny.
Robinson. Yeah.
But like seeing those characters, like it's hilarious. Like the side characters, the Toy Story's done a really good job, I think, of obviously you have your main leads, right, with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks and Joan Cusack, but you have like these side characters and you bring in some like pretty big names, people who have like very distinct, recognizable voices. And Conan O'Brien's character was just hilarious. Like it was that whole, I loved that whole plot line with how they were able to get to the toys. Like it was a little, I wouldn't say it was convoluted, but it was like trying to follow along. Like, how is this even possible with like a potty training toy? Like, how could they
Connecting to like
send that?
Wi-Fi and be able to
Yeah,
contact
sending
like
messages like that part was a little
yeah.
didn't miss for me, but
Yeah, I think the overall message for that was everything can connect to Wi-Fi and send things that like it doesn't I guess doesn't matter. But I really and I'll get with like my one actually I do have a sort of gripe, but it's not really a negative. We'll get to it at the end. But I want to talk really quick before we finish this about the Buzz Lightyear storyline, like the multiple buzzes. I just thought that was so funny. Like the movie starts with a crashed like not cargo ship, but it was like what are those little things? Shipping container, a shipping container on like a small island, and it's a giant box of Buzz Lightyears. And I think one of them kind of wakes up, and they all kind of connect to each other. Um, and throughout the film, they're just trying to find like Star Command. They like point to the sky and
yes,
they see like it's probably the North Star, right?
yeah,
And they like create a boat out of all their boxes that they came out of, and they start sailing on the water. And
ridiculous.
they finally find land, and they're trying to go through land, and they like the first time they come across a human, they all just freeze and fall over. And then they realize, like, when the human goes by, they're like, "Oh, we're supposed to freeze when humans walk by," like, because 'cause they're not programmed. They're programmed to do that, as toys. So that was kinda funny. And then, of course, at the end, like, I enjoyed that they connect to, like, Wi-Fi, like the new Buzz Lightyears, and they turn into drones, and they essentially save the day. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was another hit. Now, if like we sat down and we talked about maybe doing like a Toy Story ranking of the 5 movies. I don't know if this one's gonna. I don't know. This one might be 5th out of the 5 because I think the other 4 are just so good. But that just it's not a bad movie by any stretch, and you guys will see it in our scores here in a few minutes. We really did both really like this movie, so definitely worth it. If you guys are big Toy Story fans and you like Pixar movies in general, definitely you guys. I think this will strike a chord with a lot of people, especially maybe a lot of people who are who are having kids or who have like young kids, toddlers who are kind of starting to get into this phase, right, of technology. Like when do we give them iPads? When do we give them technology versus just playing with toys? I think this could really hit it home for a lot of
Mhm.
people.
Like,
So
you don't want your kid to feel left out, right? If all of their friends have this iPad or whatever kind of technology, but at the same time, you don't want them to be glued to the screen. You want them to actually have fun outside of that. Um, um, before we get to our scores, I do have one major gripe. So, the original Toy Story came out in 1995, my birth year. At the time,
I think I know where you're going with this.
at the time, Andy, we're supposed to assume he's probably like 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, so that's 1995. Toy Story 2 is probably, I think, a couple years later. And then Toy Story 3 is he's 17 years old. I think it's identified he's 17 or 18. He's going to college. Okay.
That's 20.
So
That came out in 2010.
come in 2010. So that's 15 years after first Toy Story. So, which again, at the time when it came out, the world around it was very similar to if it came out, because Andy would have been 18 in like 2005, 2006, right? If he was like
Sure,
8 or 9
sure,
in 1995.
sure, sure.
Toy Story 3, he ends up giving up his toys to Bonnie at the end. And Bonnie at the time, I think, was like in kindergarten. So she's probably like 5 or 6. That would have been like 2000. It should have been like 2006, 2007. Bonnie is now 8 years old. And there's iPads everywhere and it's modern day. Bonnie was a few years older in this movie than she was in Toy Story 3/Toy Story 4. This movie should have taken place in 2010, 2011. It's 2026.
God.
What are we doing with these timelines?
Yeah, I think we can't really look too much into the timelines. I think you have to look into timelines within the Toy Story universe, right? So like Toy Story 3 happened, Toy Story 2 happens, then Toy Story 3 happens. Like you have to look at their timelines. Obviously, it's hard because like our release times, right? So Toy Story 2 came out in late 90s or 2000s. The Toy Story
Yeah, it
3
was like
came out in
4 years
2010.
after. Yeah,
So like
2010 was.
I see what you're saying. So it's like, bro, Bonnie would be like in her late 20s when this
Yeah.
technically in 2026. So it's
Mhm.
like I see what you're saying.
I know. It's a kids movie. Like, it's just I was thinking that I'm like, it doesn't make sense because in this movie, this is probably 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years after Andy gave away his toys to Bonnie. So Andy should be like graduating college by now. He should be like 23, 24.
Bonnie would be about like 10. So that tracks. She's like 9 in this movie. So that tracks.
She would have been 9.
Because like if he gave her the toys when she was in a kindergarten,
Which
you're
should by
talking
5 or
about what?
6, which would have been 2010.
Yes, but let's not think about it in years of like when it released for us. Just think about it in terms of the movie release.
Well, yeah, in terms of movie, it adds up. But in terms of Bonnie's age, she should not have an iPad. She should be having the iPod Nano at this point. Anyways,
iPod video.
yeah, iPod video.
I
Anyways,
see what
that's
you're
my.
saying.
But yes, it's a kids movie. It fits in the universe. So yeah, you want to get into
What do
scores?
you want? Yeah, let's get into scores. So, like we talked about, we have our primary categories, secondary categories. So, Elliot, let's get into your primary categories, which is story and script, which we give 25 points out of 25, and then characters and acting. So, do you want to touch on how we're going to do this for like characters and acting for like an animated movie?
Yeah. So I mean, acting it's hard with an animated movie. I mean, it's voice acting.
Sure.
And most of the time when they're recording lines, they're not in the same room with each other. So it's hard to like bounce, off each other. So I focus more on just the character side of this. So characters and acting, I gave a 23 out of 25. And then story and script, I gave a 23 and 25. So again, this is nothing to do with it being, the fourth sequel. This has everything to do with the story itself and how they adapt it to modern day. And I thought it was almost executed perfectly.
Except your major gripe of timeline issues. I guess you need to go over to find Loki and talk about some timeline.
Yeah, I know. We got a TVA to clean this shit up.
I'm basically in the same boat as you. Characters and acting, I gave it 23. I thought the main cast did a great job. Obviously, Joan Cusack, Jesse was instrumental in this film because obviously it was like a Jesse movie. And then the side characters, Craig Robinson, Conan O'Brien, were fantastic. And I loved all the different types of characters, how they used it, with the iPad, with the lily pad, with the toilet potty training thing, the little map, things like that. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Story and script, I gave it a 22. A little bit down from obviously just 1 point less than you. The script of the storyline of Buzz with all the Buzz Lightyear kind of gave me a little bit of like, but nothing that kind of was like was going to drop it down significantly. So gave it a 22. Side categories, secondary categories, direction and execution. What'd you have?
I gave it a perfect 10 out of 10.
I wouldn't have been able to tell that you would have given this a 10 out of 10 based on your last like 5 minutes of talking.
Now, and directing a anime movie is, a bit different than directing a live action movie. But we kind of view this as like, is this what the crew wanted to set out this movie to be? And did they execute that? And I thought what they wanted it to be was a movie based on technology, and that it's not the worst thing in the world, but it needs to be, moderated, right? And that toys still have a place in this world. And I thought how they got there was, nearly flawless. So I would say 9.5, but it rounds up to a 10.
I had it at a 9, so almost perfect. Like I said, I think the Buzz Lightyear kind of storyline with all the different Buzz Lightyear kind of just, it felt like it was just like they executed, I think, almost flawlessly with everything we just talked about. Everything that you just said, I think it was perfect. But I felt like a couple of the secondary story plots were a little bit maybe not unnecessary, but without a lack of understanding of what we were dealing with the Buzz Lightyear thing. Like there was no background to it. There was no nothing. You just saw a bunch of Buzz Lightyear running around an island. So like that kind of dropped it down, but it wasn't anything that was like, oh my God, this movie was not executed great. So I gave that a 9. Entertainment value, I gave it a 10. I think it was, you and I were laughing. They pulled on some of those emotional strings, obviously, thus being a little bit nostalgic with growing up with Toy Story. I think they did a great job of, and like I mentioned earlier with the, not telling kids to don't be afraid of who you are. If you like playing with toys and you're 9 years old, like you don't need to conform to what society or what other people your age are doing just so you can fit in to be popular. And I think it's a good message for kids that age, and I think it's a good message for everybody, to be honest, right? So I think the entertainment value, the comedy, the one liners you get from all those Buzz Lightyears, like we haven't even touched on it, the one scene when Buzz is the actual like our Buzz, like Buzz Lightyear's talking to all the different ones, and they were talking to the end of the movie where Zurg pops up,
Yeah,
and then he eventually tells them that their Zurg is actually their father, and they were like, "No."
all in unison. They're like,
Yeah,
no, and they all fall
kind of
down to the
like
ground.
when Luke Skywalker finds out that Darth Vader is his father. So I thought that part was hilarious. So
That
I
was
think a
really
lot
good.
of the humor was fantastic. The way they executed was nearly flawless, and I think the entertainment value of this is through the roof. So I gave it
Yeah,
a 10.
I agree. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Anyone who goes into this expecting to see a Toy Story movie, they'll be, thoroughly entertained. I don't see any reason why not.
Originality, creativity. This is the one that I think the one category that had the lowest score for me. I gave it an 8. Again, it's like you're not reinventing the wheel. Like every Toy Story movie has its, time for what we're dealing with in that day and age. So it wasn't like they're not reinventing the wheel. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is like incredible, like an incredible take, but it it served its purpose. It did its job. They did exactly what they wanted to. So I gave it an 8.
Yep, I gave it an 8 as well. While still a very good movie, it's not. I mean, it's original in its own way, right? But it is the fifth movie of a series, so you're still using the same characters. You have some new ones in there, but yeah, I mean, it's original creativity would be in like a movie like a Hoppers or something like that, where brand new
Yes.
idea. This
Yes.
is technically not new, but I thought they did a really good job with what they had. So 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. Emotional impact. I gave it a 9. It didn't pull on, I think in some of the Toy Story movies, those movies kind of pulled on the heartstrings a little bit more.
Yeah,
Toy Story 4 had maybe a couple moments where it kind of got me a little bit. Toy Story 2, obviously, really, especially with the When She Loved Me song like that, that always gets me no matter what. If I'm watching Toy Story, if I hear someone sing it, if I hear that whenever you hear that song, that always
yeah,
gets you. This one still did pull a little bit on the heartstrings, right? It pulled on some of the, and I've touched on this a couple times already, but it just, not being afraid to be yourself. And I
yeah.
think that really does hit home with a lot of people, honestly, with everybody. I think that's an important message for every single person in this earth to know. So I think that hit me. Not a 10 out of 10, but pretty close with a 9. What about
Yep.
you?
I give it 9 as well. It's not as I was gonna say it's not as emotional or tugs at the heartstrings as much as some of the previous movies do. Especially like Toy Story 3 is probably the worst with that. Toy Story 4 with Woody kind of leaving the gang for the final time and get you a little bit, and then this one, yeah, I mean it's not as I mean I don't have much to say about it. It's not as emotional, but I think it's probably hits you a little more if you're a little older than us and you have kids who are at that age and you're trying to deal with it in real time. Maybe that hits you a little harder. And then just like Jesse's story kind of hits, I think, everybody. Just with like, her constant message of kids should be able to play with toys and not, grow up so quick because of technology. But yeah.
And
And
then
then our last category.
personal bias and enjoyment. This is hard because sometimes it mirrors entertainment value in a way, right? If we think a movie's super entertaining, like 10 out of 10, that's awesome. You would think personal bias and enjoyment would be a 10 out of 10 as well. I gave
Hmm.
it a 9. Again, like I talked about, just a couple of the plot points that I was a little confused. Not confused. Confused isn't the right word. I think it was just like, is this really necessary, or where are we tying this into? But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I laughed. I mean, you and I were laughing so hard. Just like I talked about the one-liners that the Buzz Lightyear character was saying when Buzz was acting a fool, and Conan O'Brien's toilet potty training thing was him and Craig Robinson had just a great back and forth a couple times. So I give it a 9.
Yeah, I give it 9 as well. There are definitely jokes like let's say like super adult raunchy jokes, but jokes that we would get that kids probably don't go right over their head. So yeah, 9 out of 10, which gives me a total of 92 out of 100.
92. Okay, so is that your highest so far this year?
It
I don't know.
might be my
What did you have
highest this
Project Hail
year.
Mary?
I'll have to go back and look.
It's in your top 2 for sure.
Yeah.
I had it at 90, so just 2 points, a little bit, just 2 points lower than you. I think that'll be my second highest so far this year, just behind Project Hail Mary. I think I had Project Hail Mary at 94. A lot of good movies so far this year, I think. But yeah, I gave it a 90. Elliot, you're at a 92, slightly above. I think, obviously we got into spoilers, so if you guys are still listening or have seen it already, you would have already seen it. But for those of you who haven't, who just like listening to our pod, I would say this is, if you like Disney and Pixar movies, I think this is it's a
It's a
fun
gold
experience.
standard.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say watch it now. Again, if you're not really big into Pixar, or you're not, you are, but maybe you're like, it's not something that I'm really interested in. I got too much stuff going on. You can wait till it comes on streaming. I mean, you're not going to miss much culturally wise with this movie. Like, you're not going to see a ton of spoilers online.
Right. Like there's not like, if you find out what happens at the end, like it's not like, oh my God, that happened. Like, you can probably tell. Yeah.
So I guess in that sense, you could probably watch it later. But if you love Disney and you love Pixar movies and that's kind of like your thing,
Mm-hmm.
I would say go see this in the theaters when you can before it goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. I mean, I think weighing in, people who love Pixar, love Toy Story, to go see it now versus people who love Pixar, enjoy these kind of movies, animated movies, then you could probably wait till streaming. So it's not like urgent, go out and see it. So it'll be on Disney Plus soon. Not soon,
Yes.
but maybe in a little bit. But yeah, you can wait for it.
Yeah, that's it. That wraps up our 9th movie review so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good ones so far. I think maybe we need to go back and maybe adjust our scores on In the Gray, but that's different story for a different time. So final segment. This is what's on our minds. So Elliot, what have you been watching? Why? Quick thoughts. What you got for me?
What is up?
Yeah. So what's on our minds? A couple things this week. Nothing too much outside of work and Toy Story. We're about halfway through Spider Noir on Prime. I mentioned before a few weeks ago, you have the option to watch it in color or black and white. Definitely watch it in white.
Okay, you've stayed on black and white. You stay on
black and white. Definitely worth it. It looks so much cleaner, and it's made for that. It's that noir kind of storytelling, which is best suited for the black and white. Enjoy it. I mean, Nick Cage is great. He's just funny too. Like there's just sometimes he's like over the top, but in the certain episodes he's supposed to be over the top for certain reasons, and I won't give anything away. But it's just it's so funny. The action's been good too.
Has he been looking for clues?
He's been looking for clues. There's a lot of clues in this show. Yeah, it's good. I recommend it to anybody who wants to get, stay in that superhero universe and doesn't want it like over the top.
Sure. Yeah. Add it to the list of shows I need to finish and watch.
Yep. And then I'm starting the last season of The Bear, which just came out last couple of days. Last season came out, I think, last summer. So it's only a year between seasons. And I didn't watch last season until I was on paternity leave a few months ago. So I'm like fresh.
Sure. Nice.
And I think it's, 8 episodes, like 30 minutes to an hour each episode. So
Hulu,
to get
right?
that knocked out in the next couple of weeks.
Hulu.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm excited about it. Aside from that, nothing too much. Watching World Cup soccer. So it's been fun. I've watched more soccer, I think, this World Cup than I have in like the previous World Cups combined. So I've enjoyed it.
Oh, I think it's easier for us now because there's more teams, but the U.S. actually has a pretty good team and they have like a decent chance to get, they could get pretty far in this thing. When 4 years ago, or it was 8 years ago, we weren't even in it. So like, it's fun to watch it, right? But if you're really not big into soccer and the U.S. isn't in it, it's like, I'll watch it when it gets like super serious. But the last World Cup obviously was a little bit harder to watch because it was around football season, so that made it a little bit difficult. But now
I think being hosted here, mainly in the United States, you have matches in Canada and Mexico, like just the hype and the vibes around it have been pretty high since it started. So
sure, and the kickoff times aren't insane. Like you're not having to watch games at 8 in the morning, 6 in the morning, things like that. So, I mean, I've been watching that. Almost done with season 2 of Andor. I know it's probably like the 4th podcast I talked about. I'm really milking this thing.
That's just going to be the recurring bit. Is just I'm almost done with Andor. Just one more episode.
Maybe I think so. I told you guys I got to episode 10, and I just I know I only had like 2 or 3 episodes left. And I was like, I don't want to finish this because this is by far like my favorite Star Wars project I think they've ever put out as a Star Wars franchise. And lo and behold, I am now on episode 10. So I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it, and then like you told me, go right into Rogue One. So
I mean, if you're still feeling that, that
God, I mean, I just
Star Wars, and go right into it because it literally leads right into it.
I'm not gonna. Who cares? This is spoilers, but like the one I just finished was the one where pretty much Mon Mothma has that big speech. And they have to get her out. Andor has to get her out. It's like, I mean, it just hits like that. This show is I don't know. It's honestly my favorite thing in Star Wars. I know I just said it, but I think it's my favorite thing that Star Wars has ever put out, movie wise too. And I know that might be like some people might be like, really over like Empire Strikes Back. Yes, yes, I just love it. So watching that, Widow's Bay. So Katie and I just started this. We've seen the hype about it. It's an Apple TV show. It's like a horror thriller show. We actually just finished the first season. It just ended. It was 10 episodes. And it's great because they're like 35 to 40 minutes long, 40 minutes long. The last episode, the finale was like 45, 48, which was great. It's incredible. If you guys like horror thriller type shows, there's a lot of comedy that's thrown in there too. Like there were multiple times when we were watching like the second to last episode and I was like cracking up laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a show I would check out. Matthew Rhys is fantastic. He was the lead in The Americans with Kerry Russell. He's incredible. Basically, the show is he's a mayor who basically is, I know I just said basically twice. He's a mayor of this town, this island town, and he's trying to turn this island, this place into like a Martha's Vineyard, a bar harbor. He really wants to get tourists there, but the island is haunted. It's cursed. It's got some really, really dark history, and he's kind of oblivious to it.
Mm-hmm.
But as the show goes on, things start to happen, and he starts to understand kind of what this island's about. So definitely check it out. I think, Elliot, I think you could, if honestly, if you had nothing to go on, you could probably watch this in like 3 days. You wouldn't stop. Like I think Katie and I one night watched like 3 episodes. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's how I was with Breaking Bad, catching up on that, and like The Sopranos. It's just once you start, you can't stop.
Other than that, Silo season 3 comes out in 1 week. I know you talked about getting on that, another Apple TV show that comes out next Friday, July 3rd. So definitely going to be excited for that. Checking that out. I might have to go back and watch my favorite guy on Screen Crush to get a recap of the first 2 seasons. And then House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones show. Season 3 just came out.
It just started, right?
Last week, yeah. Which I didn't realize. Like I'm watching it. I did like HBO released like a 15-minute recap of the first 2 seasons, and it was so much. And then I just realized I thought it came out last year, season 2. No, season 2 came out 2 years ago.
Oh, it's been that long?
So it's been really hard. Like the first episode was insane. The battle scene, there's like a 20-minute battle scene at the end, and it was incredible. But not having watched the show for 2 years, you kind of forgot a lot of things. And I tried to watch a recap to like remind myself, and there were still some holes. I'm like, okay, who's that? Wait, what? There's so many things that you had to try to remember for the show.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do some little bit more digging. I might do just a little bit more reading some recaps of episodes to kind of refresh my memory. But the first episode is fantastic. And I think they're doing 4 seasons of this show. So this is the 3rd or the 4th. And
Was there another spinoff show too?
yes. So that actually, we watched that this last year. It came out this spring. It was called Night of the Seven Kingdoms. For all you people who like Game of Thrones, I know a lot of people there's a lot of takes on House of the Dragon. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms very much felt like you're like that OG Game of Thrones type of feel to it. So I know you've never seen Game of Thrones.
I know and I'm not like one of those people like I refuse to watch it because people say you have to watch it. I'm not like it's not my cup of tea, and maybe eventually I'll get around to it. I'm not against it by any means.
No, I think if you ever get into it and you really have the time to like sit down and watch it, I think you're not going to be able to stop. That's how I felt. I never watched it when it first started, and I didn't want to buy into the hype because sometimes when shows come out, everyone's like, "Oh, you got to watch this show." Like everyone's telling you, and I'm like, "All right, well, everyone's telling me like I don't want to watch it now."
Yeah.
But then I actually kind of just like put it on. I'm like, okay, this is fantastic. So House of the Dragon, I think we have like 8 episodes this season. So I think it ends the weekend of my birthday. So
nice.
That would be a cool kind of send off for season 3. So that carries me into the beginning of August, and that sends us right into football season. So
yeah, there's something always to look forward to. So
always something to look forward to.
Going.
That's it. A lot of TV shows, not a lot of movies. I haven't been watching a lot of movies lately. I know there are a few movies that I really want to go see that are in theaters, like Tuner, The Furious. I've seen it's gotten crazy reviews. Don't even know anything about it, but I've seen crazy things about that. So I'm going to check that out. And then a couple other movies, but we're getting to that season now. We're starting to see here comes some big blockbusters down the pike. So
yeah, next week we'll one of our main stories for the week will be covering all the July releases. There's a lot. So yeah, there'll be a lot.
Yeah, that's all I've been watching. That's all you've been watching. So you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's get this thing wrapped up.
All right, so that is it for this week's episode 9 of Brothers and Blockbusters. If you enjoyed the episode, follow the show and leave a review wherever you get your podcast. It genuinely helps more than you guys know. More reviews for us is more exposure to our lovely voices and now faces, right? So we are trying to do our best. We're posting to YouTube now. We're on all your podcast formats.
Yep.
But we're posting more full-length videos of the episodes on YouTube, and then Elliot's been posting some YouTube shorts of just some clips from each episode that we think are important, that stand out, or that, you know, have some importance to that episode. And then we're also posting some reels to our Instagram account at Blockbuster Brothers. So check that out. And then I'm going to start posting some of those same reels that you're going to see on Instagram onto TikTok, just to get more exposure to us. But obviously for us, you know, share the podcast with your friends, your family, colleagues, work colleagues, anyone you know who loves movies, who loves TV, because it means more to us than you guys know. We're very passionate about this, and we really want to get this thing kind of going. So if you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at brothersandblockbusters@gmail.com, or you can visit our Instagram page at Blockbuster Brothers. Next week, we are reviewing the next film in the DCU, Supergirl. Excited to see it. I'm trying to avoid spoilers and trying to avoid reviews. I've seen a little bit, so it's kind of not dimming my expectations, but it's kind of,
yeah, you don't want to cloud your judgment.
Trying not to let it cloud my judgment and try to go into it with an open mind. But, you know, we'll see. You know, we may like it, we may not, who knows? But that is what we will be reviewing next week. So thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.